What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night Denver. Namajunas versus Cortez happening this Saturday, July 13th. Let's jump right in. Picks on the board. I think these are out of order from what they're listed as on ESPN, but it doesn't really matter. Uh, let's go. Kicking us off at middleweight, Josh Fremd versus Andre Petrosky. This fight's going to be an absolute slog, I feel like, to pick, because both of these guys are very unreliable. Um, but I'm going with Joshua Fremd, for the simple fact that Andre Petrosky knocked himself unconscious with his own double leg takedown. He stuffed his head into another man's crotch and knocked himself unconscious with it. Respectfully, I simply just cannot pick you to win a fight. Josh Fremd, also pretty bad. Much bigger than Andre Petrosky, and I think he's a much better striker. Andre Petrosky really loops his shots really hard and throws 100% power into everything. And he gasses out pretty hard after the first round. He has a pretty substantial fall off after the first round. And I feel like that fall off is going to be exacerbated greatly because they're at elevation here in Denver. So if he had cardio issues before, he's going to have them even worse now. Now, can Joshua Fremd survive the first round against Andre Petrosky? Maybe. He could get caught because Andre Petrosky does have some good power and he throws a lot of power into his shots. He's also a very good wrestler, good submissions as well, unless he's knocking himself out with his takedowns or just not being able to take down Gerald Mearshart. But Mearshart's good at grappling, so yeah, no. Uh, I just feel like Josh Fremd's gonna catch Petrosky at some point because Petrosky's stand up is so ass. His chin is just I mean, it's bad. Uh, and his cardio is bad. Like on paper, Petrosky probably should beat Josh Fremd, but I just don't trust him. Not that I just trust Josh Fremd very much either, but I don't know. I'm going with Josh Fremd. I think he'll probably get a TKO win over Andre Petrosky when he touches his glass shelf of a chin. We'll see, though. Moving up to flyweight, Luana Santos versus Maria Agapova. Guys, I'm going with Luana Santos here. This is a pretty open and shut case. Maria Agapova, you see the 10-4 record, you're like, she might not be that bad. Who are we beating? Sabina Mazo? Who cares? We're losing to Shayna Dobson by TKO, fellas. I Luana Santos is a legit prospect. She's pretty fucking good everywhere. She should beat Maria Agapova easily, I think. I would be stunned, shocked, awed, in disbelief if Luana Santos lost this fight. I mean that. Luana Santos can win this fight any way she wants, but I think she'll probably win a decision. I think she'll just beat up on Maria Agapova in the stand-up 30-27. Moving up to bantamweight, Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear. I'm going with another underdog, guys. I'm going with Damon Blackshear over Montel Jackson. I just think, although I think Montel Jackson is really, really good, he's a very tricky guy and he's very solid pretty much everywhere. Uh, just the level of competition he's beaten lately, it just doesn't give me a ton of confidence to pick him as a favorite over Damon Blackshear. Damon Blackshear recently, I believe he's coming off of that loss to Mario Batista. But I mean, as somebody who picked Mario Batista to beat him, I feel like you could have given that decision to Damon Blackshear. Uh, he competed really well, and Mario Batista is a physical monster, right? At bantamweight, so having such a close decision, unanimous, they gave that to Mario Batista, by the way, crazy. Um, Having a close fight where you arguably could have won against a physical specimen like Mario Batista, who's really good in the stand up and really good in the grappling, I think is better than any of Montel Jackson's recent wins, in my opinion. Like knocking out Ronnie Yaya, I don't care. Julio Arce is a decent win. JP Bays decision over JP Bays, which is interesting. Jesse Strader, like I don't know, man. I just don't feel like he should be the favorite over Damon Blackshear. I think Jose Johnson's a good win, especially the way he did it. Round one twister. I mean, Jose Johnson's a fucking tricky guy, dude. Lacerda's a good opponent, good submission grappler. Losing to Farid Basharat, not the end of the world. And a draw with Yusuf Zalal, who I think Yusuf Zalal is actually pretty talented. I just think the competition level that Damon Blackshear has fought is higher. And I think he'll win this fight. I think this would be a competitive fight, though, but I think he can win a decision here over Montel Jackson. Maybe even get a submission. We'll see, though. This is one of the very few fights on this card that I'm actually interested in watching. Moving up to women's flyweight, Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Fatima Klein. Fellas, I'm kind of torn on this one. I've seen a lot of people recently just kind of hyping up Fatima Klein like she was God's gift to women's MMA, and I just don't really see it, or at least I don't see why she's even money with Jasmine Jasudavicius in this fight. Fatima Klein, good grappler, really effective, but I just don't think she's fought anybody as skilled as fuck, I can't say her last name right. Jasudavicius is. Jasudavicius, good stand up, good grappling, all around good. But one thing that she does have that Fatima Klein is really going to struggle with, I think, is the size. Her physicality is much larger than a lot of Fatima Klein's other opponents that she's fought and ragdolled. And I think on short notice at elevation, a potentially grappling heavy game plan against somebody who's much larger than you on a full camp, I just think might spell problems over 15 minutes. I think Fatima Klein is good. I think she's a good prospect too, but I'm leaning towards Jasudavicius because also this line for Jasudavicius is really good. Uh so I just think Jasudavicius is going to use her experience, her full camp, her size here and just kind of wear on Fatima Klein as this fight goes on. I think she'll probably win a decision here over Fatima Klein, but we'll see though. I'm interested to see how Klein does here, uh, so you can get a real good grasp on how good she may or may not actually be. Closing out the prelims at flyweight, Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. This is probably my first or second favorite fight on the card entirely. This is a sick fight. Joshua Van, really good flyweight prospect. He's had a ton of fun fights, and Charles Johnson is a guy who's always game, who always comes to fight and fights hard. So this is a fucking banger. I feel like a banger in the making. Now prefacing this, I am really bad at picking Charles Johnson fights, fellas. Really fucking bad. I have such a bad track record of picking Charles Johnson fights. So take everything I say here with a grain of salt, because the opposite will probably happen. I'm picking Joshua Van to win. Picking Van to win. You see, I have the question marks written there because I'm unsure, because the Charles Johnson curse may rear its head once more. I'm going with Joshua Van just because I feel like this is just going to be a stand-up fight, I think. And I just think Joshua Van has cleaner boxing. Um and Charles Johnson is a guy, his attributes basically, he's got good wrestling defense. He's real good at popping up when he gets taken down, but there won't be takedowns in this fight. It's just going to be stand-up. And Charles Johnson's a guy who comes into the fight like he ramps up. First round, a little bit of output. Second round, a little bit more output. Third round, a lot more output. Generally, is how Charles Johnson fights. Joshua Van's kind of the same way, where his output and effectiveness kind of increases as the fight goes on. And in a fight where they're both going to be in the stand up, I just feel like Joshua Van will get the better of some of these exchanges. I think he rips to the body really well. I think his boxing's just cleaner. I think it'll get there before Johnson's, despite having a 5-inch reach disadvantage. I don't think Charles Johnson's going to shoot a takedown, and I don't think cardio is going to be a problem for Van. I know it won't be a problem for Johnson. I think this is just going to be a scrappy 3-round stand-up fight, and in that, I think I just slightly favor Joshua Van. Now, Charles Johnson could win this fight. He's got the size advantage. He's got the reach. He's unorthodox. He's weird. On paper, I think he has a grappling advantage. I just don't think he'll use it. Yeah, man, I just got to go with Joshua Van here. I don't think he'll finish Charles Johnson, but I think he'll win a decision over Charles Johnson, landing the more effective strikes. But we'll see, though, dude, because Johnson's a game opponent, and plus 175, kind of a steal, honestly. But yeah, Joshua Van, I think a decision here is in the cards for him. Opening up the main card at middleweight, Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Cody Brundage. I'm going with Al Hassan, fellas. Cody Brundage is buns. He had like one moment against Bo Nickel, but besides that, I mean, he lost to Cedric Dumas. He was getting his ass beat by fucking Jacob Malkoon. Rodolfo Vieira strangled him. He got a fluke win over Zachary Reese. Like, is there like a valid win that I can like see that's recent? Ah, Treason Gore. He knocked him out. I remember that. But yeah, uh, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, although he's wildly inconsistent at times, I just think the danger factor is going to be there for him. And I don't think Cody Brundage is the level of a guy like Joe Pyfer who might kind of have Al Hassan gun shy a little bit. I think Al Hassan will go for it. And I think he will catch Cody Brundage, honestly. Cody Brundage's stand up is bonds. I see a pretty free and easy KO for Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Maybe Cody Brundage could work a takedown. I doubt it though. He got out grappled by Cedric Dumas. You know what I mean? Like, give me a fucking break. If Al Hassan loses this fight, caught him. Moving up to featherweight, Juicy J Julian Erosa versus Christian Rodriguez. I'm gonna maybe I can curse him this way. I'm gonna pick Christian Rodriguez to win this fight over Julian Erosa, even though Julian Erosa is a tricky guy, really lethal jiu-jitsu, tough guy, but man is he fucking chinny. And Christian Rodriguez, for how much I hate him for missing weight, uh, and still fighting, he's pretty solid everywhere. His wrestling defense is pretty bad, but that it's bad when he's fighting like Jonathan Pierce and fucking Isaac Dolgarian, so it's really not that bad. Um, just all around he's good. He's composed in the striking. He was striking really well against Cameron Simon, who I think is a pretty technical and clean striker. Julian Erosa is very weird and spurgy with his striking, and he leaves himself out there to be hit quite a bit. And at this point in his career, after over 40 fights, his chin is very suspect. I trust if Christian Rodriguez hurts him on the feet, I don't think he'll dive neck first into like a guillotine, like a Ricardo Ramos, like a fucking idiot. Uh, I trust Christian Rodriguez here to stay composed and win this fight and win moments in this fight. Might not even get a finish. Probably wins a decision, honestly. Um, just being composed out there and picking his shots and landing on Julian Erosa and hurting him when he does land. I feel like I don't think Erosa is going to hurt Rodriguez on the feet, really. I haven't really seen anything stun Rodriguez too bad. He seems like a pretty durable guy. He's very, very smart with his grappling defense. I just think all around he's just a decent level, and I think he can beat Julian Erosa even up a weight class, his natural weight class. We'll see though. Maybe Julian Erosa pulls a fucking rabbit out of the hat again and gets another upset win. Uh, who knows? Moving up to welterweight, Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Lusa. Um, I'm going with Gabriel Bonfim. I don't like this line because I don't think Ange Lusa is that bad. He was getting styled on in his last fight. He did okay against Reese McKee. Actually, nah. Gabriel Bonfim should win this fight. Ange Lusa, although he is technical and he is solid, my problem with him is he is a little bit chinny and he is catchable. If he's catchable, I think Bonfim can catch him. Much more dynamic striker. Angelusa likes to throw a lot of straight shots, um, which could be effective on Bonfim, but I think Bonfim will be able to get a takedown on Angelusa. I think he'll pop him with something and then dump him on the ground. And from there on, I don't think Angelusa's submission defense will hold up. I do worry about Bonfim at elevation, though. He did gas pretty hard in his last fight against Nicholas Dalby, but Nicholas Dalby's kind of that dude, though. Nicholas Dalby's kind of a beast, so I don't hate the loss to Dalby too much. Um, I think Bonfim can catch Angelusa in the stand-up. I think he can hurt Angelusa in the stand-up. I think he'll still be confident, even though he lost his last fight, that he can finish anybody. I think he's going to come out here. I think he's going to catch Angelusa on the feet, go into a takedown, and submit Angelusa in like rounds 1 or 2. That's what I'm thinking. But once again, we'll see. Moving up to lightweight, Drew Dober, Gene Silva. Gene Silva taking this fight on short notice after missing weight like a bitch. Uh, I'm just mad because he knocked out Charles Jourdain. I love Charles Jourdain. But yeah, he's fighting Drew Dober, up a weight class at lightweight on short notice, which is nice. I'm glad somebody took this Drew Dober fight. Um, I'm gonna go with Drew Dober. Drew Dober's the underdog. Wow, they're basically pick him, but Gene Silva's pretty good. He's got good power. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he should be the favorite over Drew Dober. I don't think if he knocks out Drew Dober, holy shit, dude. You know what I mean? Um, I just think Drew Dober's gonna catch him in exchanges. And where Gene Silva might catch Drew Dober. I think Drew Dober will hurt him more in an exchange than Gene Silva will hurt Drew Dober, basically. I think these guys are going to get fucking after it. I think these guys are going to get active and start swinging from the start of this fight till the end. But I think Drew Dober will just land more powerful strikes on Gene Silva than Gene Silva will land on Drew Dober. But we'll see. I'm trusting in the Chad Dome, the fucking homunculus cranium, the anvil skull himself. I'm just going to trust him to out Chad Gene Silva and take his shots and Gene Silva not be able to take his. Uh, Fuck it. Drew Dober, KO. Let's go, baby. Moving up to welterweight, our co-main event, by the way, we have 40-year-old Muslim Salikov coming off of like 2 losses in our co-main event. That's crazy. Uh, like Brandon Royval was begging to be on this fucking card, by the way. I just want to say this. Brandon Royval, #1 ranked flyweight in the world, coming off a win against Brandon Moreno, was begging to be put on this fucking card. Why not? Why give people who show up to an arena this slop as a co-main event? That's crazy. But Ponzinibbio, Muslim Salikov, welterweight fight. Who's gonna win? I'm picking Ponzinibbio. I'm not very confident in it because I think Salikov is faster and more dynamic of a striker and could give Ponzi some problems. But Salikov's 40, coming off of a horrifically brutal KO. Um, and those dynamic strikes, a lot of his spinning attacks, things like that, they kind of are going to fall off, especially at elevation. So, and Ponzi's, he's a bit chinny, but he knows how to survive in a fight largely. Like he's going to split decisions with like Jeff Neal and Michel Pereira, really powerful and dangerous guys. So I'm going to trust him to keep himself safe for long enough for Salikov to slow down, and then Ponzinibbio can kind of work that grimy striking style and kind of wear down on Salikov. And I think he can catch Salikov in like the second or third round once Salikov slows down a little bit, which he will or he should because he's 40 fighting at elevation. Um, but yeah, obviously Salikov is still dangerous, really good stand up. But I just think he's too damn old now. I mean, Ponzi's not young either, but I mean, 40's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ponzinibbio. I think he might get like a late TKO, like round 3, maybe. Um, or he could just get chinned by some fucking spinning dragon hermit crane kick from fucking Salikov for no fucking reason. Who knows, dude? This card is just so wacky. Closing out the card at women's flyweight, our main event, Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. I gotta go with Rose Namajunas here, guys. This is a big ask for Tracy Cortez to step up on short notice, go 5 rounds at elevation with a former champion. Um, this could be a tough fight for her. Rose Namajunas' last performance wasn't anything spectacular. She did look good though. It's just not as active as I would have liked. Um, but I think she can beat Tracy Cortez in this fight. I think Tracy Cortez is pretty good everywhere. She doesn't really have a deficit of skill anywhere. I just think on the feet, I just think Rose Namajunas is just better outright. She's just a lot more composed on the feet. She's a lot more technical, I think. And I think that's just going to be enough to squeak out rounds against Tracy Cortez. I think this will be a pretty competitive fight. But I just see Rose Namajunas winning over 5 rounds pretty, I don't want to say easily because I don't think Tracy Cortez is bad, but just I think rounds will be close. And then as the fight starts to get deeper, I think Rose is going to have clearer rounds, I think. So I'm going to go with Rose Namajunas. I think she's probably going to get I could see her winning a decision here. I could also see kind of a late finish as well, depending on Cortez's cardio over 5 rounds here. Um, yeah, I think I'm just gonna be safe, say Namajunas decision, but we'll see though. Uh, I've said that like 10 times. I need to stop saying that shit. Uh, but yeah, Namajunas decision, and that's the card. We have an absolute thrill ride to look forward to this weekend, fellas. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you guys next time for another women's MMA main event. See ya.